Hey guys, John here. For this module I'm going to be going over how to use fire extinguishers. Now whether you're a homeowner or business owner or employee, you should know how to use a fire extinguisher. And actually NFPA requires that employees and owners of businesses be trained or familiar with using fire extinguishing equipment. Now the fire extinguisher I have is a commercial fire extinguisher. It's the same thing you'll find with a residential fire extinguisher from Home Depot. It has the same anatomy and it operates just the same. The only difference between this and the Home Depot fire extinguisher is this has a cute little tag on it for recertification. Now to use one of these, the first thing you want to learn is the acronym PASS, which is pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. But we'll get back to that in a minute. The actual first thing you want to do upon discovering a small fire is call 911. This way the fire department is notified and they're already on the way. The second thing you want to do is know your way out of the building. The last thing you want to be is lost or trapped inside the building, especially if you're trying to find a fire extinguisher. You kind of defeated the purpose. So back to PASS, the pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. You're going to take your fire extinguisher off the wall. You're going to grab it with your non-dominant hand. I'm a lefty, so I'm going to use my right hand to grab the fire extinguisher. And the reason for this is when you have to aim this, you want to be using your dominant hand, because you aim better with your dominant than your non-dominant. So you're going to take the fire extinguisher, and as you're going back to the fire, you still want to be aware of, in case this thing doesn't do its job, how do I get out? If you don't have a way out, then don't go extinguish the fire, just leave the building. When you approach the fire, you want to keep about 10 to 15 feet of distance between you and the fire. At this point you want to pull the P, pull the pin out of the fire extinguisher. Most commercial fire extinguishers are equipped with a small plastic retaining ring. The only purpose for this ring is to keep the pin from accidentally falling out. So just give the pin a good yank and it's going to break free. Now for the aim, you want to take the fire extinguisher by the nozzle. Now you don't want to hold it like this, because when you discharge the extinguisher you're not really aiming, you're just holding the hose flopping around. What you want to do is take your index finger and put it down the nozzle of the fire extinguisher. This way, when you aim, wherever you point your finger is where the agent is going to go. And where you want to aim the agent is at the base of the fire. So that's your aim. So as you're aiming, you want to squeeze. When you depress the lever, you're going to release the agent from the fire extinguisher. And then you're going to aim at the base of the fire, and the last thing is sweep. You're going to go left to right with the nozzle at the base of the fire. Now normally you want to discharge the whole extinguisher. This way you can be pretty sure that the fire will be extinguished. But if the fire doesn't get extinguished after you used a whole extinguisher, it's time to leave. Now on that note, there's other scenarios when you should and should not use a fire extinguisher. One is if the fire is too big. Fire extinguishers are more for contained fires, like something that would be in a wastebasket or in the corner of a room. They should not be used if the flames are higher than the person using the extinguisher. So average height, if the flames are almost reaching the ceiling, your fire might be too big for this to put out. Another time not to use an extinguisher is if the flames are going in concealed spaces, or to where if you can't operate this just from a standing position. So if you have to crouch down, reach over, anything else like that, you shouldn't be using one of these. Another time that you should not use a fire extinguisher is if there's too much smoke. Now if it's a small fire, there should be only a little smoke collecting at the ceiling. So if you can stand up and use this, use it. If you have to crouch down to get to the fire to use one of these, you shouldn't be there. Another one is air temperature. If the air in the room is too hot to where you feel your ears burning, your nose burning, you shouldn't be there. Proper protective equipment should be on you to fight this fire. So if the fire is small, so you can feel the heat from the fire but you're not really cooking, you can use one of these. And the last one is just make sure you have an egress path. If you don't have a way out from where the fire is, just don't go in there. Wait for the fire department to show up. You've already called them, they're already on the way. This way when you run out of the building, you can tell them exactly where it's at. That's more help than us having to drag you out of the building after you've succumbed to heat or smoke. So using a fire extinguisher is a big responsibility, and that's why you should learn how to use one. And again, fire extinguishers are always equipped with a irritant in them, and that's to keep juveniles from yanking these off the wall and just spraying with them. The irritant is supposed to irritate your airway, and that's supposed to prohibit kids from doing those things. So just remember also, when you use one of these, it's going to be tough to breathe if you ever get this in your lungs. So that's pretty much how to use a fire extinguisher in a nutshell. You guys have a good evening.